There were numerous secondary explosions taking place in that building. There were continuous explosions.
I know it's hard to believe, but this year we will mark 10 years since the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and it was the worst non-wartime terror attack in the U.S. 2,752 people died when those two planes flew into the Twin Towers in New York. And there is some new video we have just gotten actually shows the devastation from the perspective of an NYPD helicopter. Watch it with me just for a moment. I know it's tough to watch. I saw it this morning. It made me sick to my stomach, but the video.
I can't make the decision for 6 other lives and 6 other families.
There were numerous secondary explosions taking place in that building. There were continuous explosions.
Helicopters hovering over the Twin Towers in those first minutes.
Given exclusively by the NYPD to primetime.
If you could plan, I mean, the absolute worst case scenario high-rise mission, I mean.
One of the first calls I got was from people on the ground calling us to immediately check the roof. I said there was a corner from where the wind was blowing from that was partially open, but it was still covered in smoke, and there was numerous obstructions. I said, Pat, this is impossible. This is undoable. I can't see the roof. And immediately, the high-rise rescue plan was going into effect. The smoke had covered 90% of the entire roof, so I couldn't even see the roof to make an evaluation of where we could go.
But Hayes hopes he can find a way, some way, to manage a daring rescue. From the ground, it seems an aerial rescue could work.
To immediately check the roof.
Could people have been saved from the rooftop?
Around the World Trade Center that morning, did you ever see people on the roof?
No, never. We looked. The South Tower was totally obscured. I can't make the decision for 6 other lives and 6 other families.
There were numerous secondary explosions taking place in that building. There were continuous explosions.
Danger just being in the air.
I felt it was going to impact our aircraft. So we climbed. He went underneath us, and next thing I knew, I watched it impact the South Tower.
But hey.
Well, these are reputable American citizens of ability, but it's also a biased panel, and a one-sided panel. After all, almost all these men have been associated with intelligence one way or another. Vice President Rockefeller has a long record of association with the CIA. He's the principal sponsor, of course, of Secretary of State Kissinger, who's more responsible than anyone else for CIA activity. So it isn't quite a matter of having the CIA investigate itself, but it's very, very close to it. Furthermore, this group will not have subpoena powers. They expect to make a report in 90 days. That's 3 months. And meanwhile, Congress is asked to kind of wait until they get the report, which I hope we will not do, because the whole history of CIA trouble has been that there's a public outcry, concern for a couple of weeks, and then it fades and disappears. This panel may be a matter of buying time. We should not let it do so. The Congress ought to get to work at once in investigating the CIA vigorously.
There were numerous secondary explosions taking place in that building. There were continuous explosions.
I was asked about what my knowledge was about the NSC relationship to intelligence. In my period of being in Washington, the National Security Council did not concern itself with domestic intelligence, and therefore this is not a subject that could be pursued.
There were numerous secondary explosions taking place in that building. There were continuous explosions.
I stated that there was, during my term of office, there was no, absolutely no assassination plot, no authorized assassination plot against Castro or anyone else, because I felt, and others in government felt, that this was not consistent with the moral values of the United States or the policy of the Central Intelligence Agency, and certainly not consistent with my moral values.